Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn how to deploy a sample load balancer workload to EKS Auto Mode. In the previous video, I have explained how to create an EKS Auto Mode and what is EKS Auto Mode and its features. In this video, I will be just deploying the Nginx application using EKS Auto Mode, and I am not going to install any other plugins or any other add-ons on my EKS cluster like AWS Load Balancer Controller or any essential plugins, because everything is included in the EKS Auto Mode. So now we will learn how to create a Kubernetes configuration file to deploy this workload on EKS Auto Mode. The first thing you need to connect to the cluster. So if you don't know how to connect to the EKS cluster, I have one video that you can follow, but this is the command to connect to the cluster, and this is where you provide your name. So this is important so that your kube config is updated with the new credentials based on your new cluster name. So now if I do basically kubectl get node pools, so you should be able to see all the node pools that gets created for this EKS cluster. So here you can see that. So now we will be deploying a game application. So I wanted to show you how the code looks like for that. So if you look at this, it's the same way of it is the same deployment configurations that we have for the managed node groups or the Fargate profiles also, and we will see what are the new changes that this file has. So here you can see we are simply creating a new namespace, and this is the simple deployment. This is again the same, we have not changed anything. Previously we have used the Nginx applications, you can use that also, but now I'm using the game application. So this is the simple deployment resource, and the third one is simple your service resource that will create your cluster IP. So now you have seen that once you have created all these resources to expose your application externally, or you can browse it on the internet, you have to create an load balancer so that you can access your application outside the cluster. And for that, first you need to have the AWS Load Balancer Controller installed on your cluster, and then you can actually create your ingress classes and ingress resources. So with EKS Auto Mode, we don't need to create that load balancer controller. What we have to do, you are just providing this information, like this is the ingress class where you are providing this information. This is your namespace, and this is your Kubernetes name load balancer controller and spec and the controller. So this particular part will take care of your AWS load balancer controller, and this is the ingress resource. So this is the same ingress resource that we have used in previously also for the Nginx application. There is no change there. So now let's just go there and just deploy this game.yaml file. So for that you will do kubectl apply -f game.yaml. So it created the namespace, it created the deployment, it created the service, the ingress resource, ingress class, and ingress. So it has created everything. So now if we wanted to check like get ingress, yeah, so you can see that it has created this load balancer also. So as soon as this load balancer is up, you should be able to access this game application on the browser. So what did you learn of this EKS Auto Mode? We have seen as soon as your cluster is created successfully and it is in active state, to deploy your application, what you need is just your Kubernetes configurations and you are good to go. You don't need to worry about the OIDC provider setup that we have done before. The second, you don't need to worry about the AWS load balancer controller. It will automatically take care of that part. With this EKS cluster, you don't need to worry about any add-ons also that needs to be up to date or that needs to be created, installed, anything. You don't need to do anything like that. The open source project is still there. You can always add more plugins if you want to, but with your normal configurations and with the normal requirements, this will work. So we will wait until this is active, and then I will show you how the game application looks like. Now you can see that your load balancer is active, and if you get this DNS name and try to run it on your browser, you will get this application game 2048, and this is how it looks like. You can click on new game. So you can see that it has automatically created the load balancers and now it is accessible on the browser. One thing that I wanted to show, let's go to our EKS cluster and see what all resources it has created. So if we go there and click on resource and now pods, so here you can see that it has created the matrix servers because we have added that community add-on plugin and all the deployment related resources for this game application. So if I go to cube system, you will just see matrix server. Previously we were seeing all the load balancer controllers and the kube proxies, all the things, but now nothing is there. The only thing is the matrix server, and in your this particular namespace you will see this deployment object. And if I go to the compute again, here you can see that instance type and the compute is auto mode, and this is the instance type that by default it select. Again, you have an option to change all these default configurations. You can select which instance type you need for your EKS Auto Node if you want to go into that customization. But in general, EKS Auto Mode based on your application automatically select the instance type based on the requirement. And there is one thing that I wanted to tell. As soon as you delete this EKS cluster, all the other resources will also get deleted, like load balancer. In the EKS cluster without auto mode, those load balancer controller, you have to delete it manually. Those are not getting cleaned up if you delete your EKS cluster. So with auto mode, that will also get deleted because it's all managed by AWS now.